Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Suzaku, and I'm here with Drip today. I not sure where Fozo is. He's got a new team. They're scrimming. They're doing this and that. We kind of fell off on our schedule that we wanted to get on, but we found some time. We're going to do another podcast episode for you guys. So we have a couple things we want to talk about today. Honestly, we haven't talked in a long time, so we're going to go all the way back to Invite. I know it's been a month. Talk about SSG a little bit. Then we got the roster moves, the North American Pro League Playday that happened yesterday, and a little bit about some organizations in Siege and the current, or the effects of it and what's going to happen in the future. So let's get started. SSG finally winning Invite. I'm a little upset because personally, I have gone to the last two invites besides this one, and I had to watch Penta and G2 win, which is like not annoying, but like if there's ever a time where I wanted to see an NA team win, it would have been this last one, so I'm kind of upset I didn't go, but that's besides the point. I think they played absolutely, phenomenal, and we saw it beginning at, the USN stage. It was like, wow, these guys are fucking, they're good, right? They're really good, and they're dismantling all these NA teams, and it's like, everyone's like, well, it's just USN, that doesn't translate exactly to international play. And it's like they went to Invite and they did the same thing. And I think TSM had a good shot too. They were third place. So top 2 out of 3 were NA teams. And I say this all the time. Every time my LAN event comes up, personally, I don't care who wins it all, but I just want to see NA win. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't an SSG believer. I didn't have them getting out of groups, and it wasn't due to them. It was more due to the fact that they had the super group.
Yeah,
and they smoked through their group. And it was kind of the same situation at Raleigh. They had EG Giants and I think Nip in their group, another group of death, and they 2-0'd in that group. So I think when they're put in that position, they definitely thrived. They absolutely dominated. They actually had a ton of close maps. Actually, in the first round of playoffs against MIBR, they won 8-7 on Villa, which is kind of it was a 2v3 the last round in MIBR's favor, and MIBR through. And it's one of those things where it's like a snowball effect from there. They have the momentum, and they didn't drop a map until the upper bracket finals against TSM, in which they actually came back 4-0 on Cafe, which is pretty damn incredible considering that they went 4-0 down on defense to start.
And I actually remember that because I was watching that game, and I had to go to work, and I was like, okay, whatever. There's, TSM, let's go. They won, whatever. And then, I'm checking Twitter at work, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? They came back from it, and then to win it, I was like, holy shit. And I agree. I think when we did the group predictions, I also didn't have them. Or what I said is that if TSM didn't make it out, they were going to make it out. But it turns out, obviously, both the NA teams did. Kind of surprised that, not really surprised at Rogue, because they are having whatever problems they have. Their internal, whatever, mental, problems, but
mental blockage.
Yeah. But Navi, I was surprised. I mean, they just won Japan, right? You'd think obviously, just because you win one doesn't mean you're going to win the next one, but you'd think they'd make it farther than groups, and then they had all their shit happen with their players, and Citizen's gone now, and so it's one of those things. It goes to show you that you really don't know what's going on as a viewer or a spectator until it happens. Obviously, those things have been going on with that team since however long, and it's it showed at Invite. And so I mean, SSG, everyone about the grand finals, right? They got a free map. Everyone was flipping out about that. It's not fair, this and that, but honestly, I think a map advantage is fair. If you win every single game through the winners bracket, you shouldn't, not that you shouldn't be on the same I was going to say level as the losers bracket team. I just think obviously the most competitive way would to do, all right, so, you have your winners bracket team, you have your losers bracket team. The winners bracket, if they win the best of 5, they win. If the losers bracket team wins the best of 5, then you play another best of 5. That's how all fighting games do it. And obviously those go way quicker. So you wouldn't be able to do that with Siege because the games are way too long. So I think the way they did it was fine. I also think instead of maybe giving them a whole map, you can let them pick 3 of the maps, right? So it's you'll still have to play the full 5 maps, but they'll be able to choose 3 of the 5 maps that they want to play and not have to worry about, and continued the ban phase after that. There's 100 ways they could have done it. I think the way they did it was fine. I think the NIP fans were kind of overreacting, and obviously if you lose to that kind of format, you're going to complain about it, and if you win to that format, you're not going to complain about it. So that's kind of what we saw as far across social media. But honestly, I think it's a fair decision. They announced it before the tournament, so it's not like you got to grand finals like, okay, they get a map. Like, everyone knew that was going to be that way, so you can't really complain after the fact, right? But you just have to adapt to the change that Ubisoft put in.
Yeah, I know this is a very controversial topic, so I don't want to dive too deep into it, but I just think, with my opinion, I do think one map is too far of a stretch. I do understand the winner bracket deserves some sort of advantage, and my solution to that would be when they, a BO5 no map advantage, but at the beginning with all 7 maps up, my solution would be SSG gets to pick their map and side. So that way, they have the severe advantage in many cases, but the other team still has
a chance. Yeah, okay, that's a good way too. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, we saw a bunch of ways people were explaining that it could have been better, but you can't be mad at them for doing the map advantage. And it's like, every time I was like, wow, congratulations, SSG, you won 2-2. I just kind of get like, I don't know, just hate. Yeah. It just makes, it's like malicious intent behind it. But all right, so congratulations to those guys if you're watching. I know Lycan said he liked listening to the podcast. Luke said, so if you guys are here, congrats. Doing the stuff behind the scenes, and if any players are listening, thank you for bringing one home for North America. That's I'm just happy about that. All right, so after every LAN event, sometimes during the middle of the season, roster moves. People make changes. Teams are not happy with what's going on and they make changes. Sometimes teams are happy, but they still make changes. I couldn't tell you the reasoning for half of the things. But, so I guess we could start off with, where do you want to start? You want to start with like tempo or rec? We'll start tempo.
We can start off with tempo.
Okay, so obviously right now they picked up Mark for the rest of the season at least. And obviously the official announcement was that they got Sloppy from EU. I haven't watched any matches that they played in, but I believe in Dream and what they said, and they said he's a good guy and he's, a good player. So I'll hope that he'll be able to make a big enough impact to get them some wins. Have they won a match this Pro League season yet? I think it's just ties,
no,
right? They've tied, night. Yeah. So hopefully they get some points on the board. Do I agree? People say, do you agree with Filthy getting dropped? I think it didn't necessarily have to be him. I think they definitely needed a roster change. If they just kept the same roster through the whole season, it would not have helped them. Now, granted, there is no relegations, but you still want to improve as a team. And if anything, you'll use it as a time to practice with these new players, right? To get you situated for the next season. So, I mean, they looked pretty strong with Mark yesterday, and then it kind of just fell apart. They ended up tying EG. And not really strong, but better is a better way to put it. He didn't do too well personally, but that it doesn't really matter. It's a team game. I just hope that like whatever you can fix in-game stuff, right? Like operator wise and information wise, this and that, but like the mental part of the game and all that, I hope they are doing better on that end, and not getting frustrated with each other and just trying to make it work. And then on the other side of that match, I guess we can kind of mix in the Playday and the roster moves, right?
Yeah.
EG. They brought on Spades. They had him for the last game of the last split, but it was like, I think with that, only a couple days of practice. So they looked like super, like I think honestly this whole like first match of the day was super sloppy, like on both ends, which is fine because no one has played a Pro League match since before, it's been over a month, almost 2 months, whatever, since the last Pro League match. So these guys have been just scrimming, which isn't necessarily the best practice, and for game day, because sometimes teams are trolling, they don't want to do this, people cancel scrims, you're like shit, whatever. But they're getting back into the groove. That's what both of them were working on, at least I hope. And I think Spades, I think we said it in the other podcast, like you couldn't get much worse than it already was. Not trying to be rude or mean or anything, but They were just, EG's have just been on a decline. I don't think it specifically has to do with Geo leaving or Canadian leaving, but just something about the team itself just seems off, right?
Isn't the same.
Isn't the same as, dominant NA team that they used to be. So I'm hoping that Modiga and Spades can bring them together and, make it work. But once again, their problem was never kills. They all get their kills. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's closing out those rounds, those, 2vx's, 1vx's. But,
Yeah.
it's just, like I said, overall super sloppy match.
Yeah, and speaking of sloppy, so I'm just gonna kind of reroute back to
Yeah, my bad. I was just talking.
No, it's
talking.
all good. So Tempo Storm picking up sloppy. So when I heard about this, kind of in the works, I was kind of stunned. I was like, "Who sloppy? Like, who the fuck is this?" No disrespect to him, but
you just
is
don't
an
know.
NA
You
player.
just don't know.
Yeah. So he played a season with MKers in Challenger League, and then that was like 2 seasons ago. So I didn't really know who he was, and it's kind of a shocking pickup. You think they would go for someone like Panix or just a free agent like Spark. I mean, somebody that was a little more established,
right? And has played more recently in a league or something.
And I kind of compared it to like, okay, Tempo, like a lower tier NA Pro League team, still good, but bottom of the pack. It's kind of like if Vitality picked up Carnage B, like you just.
That's what you. Yeah. No offense to Karn, but it's the same thing. It's the honest way to think about it. Yeah.
Like a little bit of CL, no real pro experience, but like he's there,
dedicated.
And, but I've played with Sloppy in a TM before, one of the pro TMs, and I mean he seemed good. It's just he's an Italian player. His accent was very thick, but I think they'll be able to handle it. Dream's a smart guy. But yeah, when it comes to Tempo guys like Dream and Butters, and Tim or creators, they're all real smart guys. I definitely trust this pickup for them. Sloppy seems pretty good. If you watch his streams, he's just like a mechanically really, really skilled player. Yeah, like you can tell he knows what he's doing. But I think that team is definitely going to be, they have what it takes to really be top 4. I think they just they need the drive. I like the role swap they did with Crazy on Breach and Dream on Entry, because
100%.
For anybody that's been watching these TMs, Dream is just like absolutely insane. Like I tell Dream all the time, like, Dream, I want to model my gameplay after you. I want to be able to body shot with the R4C and IQ LMG with no skill, and he really is nasty at it. And I'm actually excited to see him on Entry, and I think that team's going to be really good. I think Crazy's more of a support player, plus he IGLs that team, so I think he's going to fit really well on that role. But yeah. But in terms of yesterday, EG kind of did throw some rounds. I know there was a big 2v4, although I think it was Tim or Creators who got all 4 kills. Really, like, just a bad play by EG where Creators is literally top metal, walking into a crossfire, and he somehow kills 4 people, and then ends up winning the 1v1 versus Spades. Like, that's just something at pro level play that
shouldn't be
shouldn't be happening. A great team will not let that happen. A good team will. So it's one of those things. So I think both teams kind of played sloppy yesterday. I think actually a few bright spots. Mo played really well. That's like, it's good to see Mo play well. The old Modiga is back. Like, he's kind of been fire and ice in Pro League, had some good games, had some really bad games, but yesterday he went, I think, 14-7. Just showed up big, made his presence known. Spades did all right. Not the Spades that I expect, because I think Spades is one of the most underrated players in NA. Like, he's just insane. Like, the things he does is so mind numbing. Like, he's like a brain dead player, but he's a very good brain dead player. I mean,
it's the best way to put it. It's the best way to put it.
I played him in CL when he went plus 61.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was 2 seasons ago, right?
Yeah, and it was just like, God, like the things he would do.
You couldn't stop him. You just couldn't, no matter what you did.
We were all playing Spades game. Like, it's pretty much what it came down to. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think EG is on an upward trend. They did get smoked by Tempo last time, but a tie is definitely an improvement. And I think this season, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean anything. It's literally just for money. It's kind of like a glorified Challenger League in a way. So I think they just need to use it for practice. And I think EG is going to benefit more than Tempo, because Tempo has to use a sub, assuming that they switch Mark out for Sloppy. But yeah, I think that was a pretty decent recap of the game yesterday. 2 sloppy performances, but like upward trends for both teams for sure.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it's like they both played kind of bad, but they're both improving at the same time, and
Hmm.
it's just Dream. I love him. Played at the workshop with him. If I ever make pro league, I'm convincing my team to get him because I love
Yeah,
that guy. But
for sure.
you know, I definitely think we saw that glimpse of like, just to go back what you said about him on like the entry and the flex at USN, right? They
Hmm.
lost to Sonics, but he was he was getting his kills, right? He was doing what he needed
Yeah,
to
he
do,
showed up
and
big.
he showed up big for his first LAN. And I'm glad the first half of pro league we kind of saw like you said, crazy on that Zofia and on that whatever. And I just think like having creators or Dream on Thermite is like you're just wasting potential. So I'm glad that
Hmm.
not necessarily you don't have to IGL from the hard breach or from the support role, but it's easier to see what's going on. It's easier to convey to your teammates what you need, when you're a hard breach as opposed to a Zofia or this and that. So I think that's like you said, that's a good role swap for them. Um, so what's next as far as roster moves? Oh, we can do Rec and EU,
Yeah,
kind of the
big
match
move.
plus the. So this one honestly surprised me like the most. Slash leaving LG because when I hung out at their house a lot at USN and he seemed to like it there and he liked the guys. I'm sure they're still all friends and everything. I don't know if he got a better offer with Rec or sees a better future there maybe. But I mean, getting rid of Nyx and Retro, I don't think was necessarily the right play. Right? Maybe there's those internal things that we don't see, we don't know about. Um, but once again, they made their decision. It's over. Can't do anything about it. But I mean, that was a really good showing from them in the first play day. I was expecting I'm gonna say right now, I'm not a hater, but I was expecting them to do a lot worse. Like I love the
Yeah,
guys like Virtus, one of my favorite players, and Fox and Slash. They're all my friends and Bio, and I was expecting it to be a lot worse.
yeah. I expected to be closer. I didn't really have a clear-cut favorite to win. I was thinking it was a tie or 7-5 situation, but
Yeah,
Rec Rec absolutely smoked them. I mean, it it's kind of weird seeing it was weird seeing Bio on Jaeger, and then you have Nyx that they dropped. So it's like they kind of picked up a more flexible player, and he did. Bio started off the game pretty hot, kind of cooled down at the end, but it doesn't really matter. They ended up winning the
winning
game.
the game. Yeah, that's the
He
important
did
part.
almost troll that last round where he dropped Diffuser on the other side of the map, where Callout almost 1v5'd. That would have been one for the ages. I mean, Callout's just like a big healthy lad. Like I love Callout, and I was really hoping he had that. And Laxing hit a crazy shot. I was like, fuck. Like it's actually like I felt like I was on E United for 5 seconds there when he
Yeah, you're
launched. I
just
was like,
like,
oh,
and
come on, Seth Nick.
it's crazy because like when he died, you're looking at Callout's perspective, right? Because they were looking at it from the hatch, and it's like you can't see anything. Like
Yeah, he
like
got
if
ghost.
like imagine if either that or like he was crouched, like that could have saved the round there legitimately, and it's just like
Yeah,
Lax hit the one tap, so it's like. Kudos to him. That's an awesome shot. He said, I mean, he even tweeted out. He said it was like the greatest shot of his career, which, it's just a pro league Playday match, but still, like that shot's pretty insane to be able to hit that. And like you said, Bio did almost troll that, and I think what they were trying to achieve with Bio and Slash, if just from the outside looking in, is like you said, like a little bit more of a flexible player, and then
hmm
Slash obviously is known as like the IGL type player. So I think last season they got roasted for like, oh, who's doing all the calls, who's doing all this and that, and it's like even Bio too, like Bio's an IGL as well. So it's like they kind of like pushed away from like that fraggerness and then brought in these guys for a little more brains. Because I mean, you have Vert, right? He's top 10 player in the world,
hmm
and according to CGG, and it's like you got use him as your fragger and get some more brains in there. So I think that was a good overall a good move. Like I said, I wasn't expecting them to come out this hot, but they did.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, the move definitely looks like it paid off. One thing for United is Alphama did play really well. I think he definitely put up his frags. As a team, they didn't play that well, but I mean, it's good to see that Alphama is at least adapting, playing well in the NA environment. I think E United has a ton of potential. I think they just need to work things out. Like mechanically, like they have Yeti, Grix are two beast, Forest a beast. Except if he picks the wrong op on match point, that's not really a beast move. But
Yeah, I don't know why he
That's
tweeted
only
that
Forrest,
one.
only Forrest, would do something like that, but also only Forrest would be plus 15 in pro league so far because he's a beast. So and then call out I think that team really has like a good dynamic.
They
Like
have
they have
their
the mastermind
foundation.
on the
They have their
team. Yeah,
foundation down. They just got to put it into play. And
yeah,
like you said, Alfama did all right, or he did good. He's plus 6, 12 kills. And his cost was good too. He had a high cost,
yeah.
that's the important
He was
part, right?
effective.
Because you could get all those kills, but if you got a
Doing
33% cost, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's gonna do really well here. I was gonna say fine, but he's gonna do really well here. Like you said, United has the foundation. Now they just gotta, tighten up and make it work. I think that,
hmm
I mean, I don't want to say like they should have kept Reed. Like Reed did really well for that first half, but it was like, they put all this, not blood, sweat, and tears, but this money to get Alfama. So I'm glad that the first match he at least gave a strong showing,
yeah.
as opposed to like if we saw that they got 7-2'd and he was
2-8.
2-8 or something, I'd be like, oh geez. But at least you can see he's coming hot out the gate. And like I said for the other game, it's like this is their first game back after 3 months or 2.5 month of not playing. I don't know when was the last Pro League Playday? Do you remember? It was like before February, right? January, exactly.
January.
So it's a month and a half, 2 months since they last played. Everyone's kind of just getting back in the groove, and just for our next one, for the next game, Jarvis
so we
on
had-
Luminosity.
Yeah, Jar Jar. This was definitely a very close game. Definitely, I wasn't really shocked because I kind of knew how LG was going to play it. Pro League again, glorified Challenger League right now. Nothing to win, nothing to lose. So they did play with that nothing to lose mentality, and they almost won. Like it was a really good close game. It was 7-5. They kind of trolled on their attacks, but like they showed that once again they have that mongoloid strength as a team, and when it comes down to it, like they can hang with the big dogs. And I was definitely impressed, Doodle, because you may or may not listen to this. You kind of trolled, but that's okay. We still know you're capable of greatness. Hyena,
Just wasn't missing.
Yeah, like Hyena, you did good for once. Nice. No, I'm kidding. But played really well. And a lot of people were questioning Jarvis, in terms of like, oh, why is he playing Bandits? Kind of pointless. Like they're gonna go above and shoot the Bandits. As someone who's teamed with Jarvis and like thinks Jarvis is an absolute legend, Jarvis will play Bandit when he feels like it because it's a comfort pick in the same way that some people will play a Vigil if they want. So he was just bringing the Bandit for the gun, and it almost
C4,
came. The C4, the ability to be a 3-speed, and they almost won. And it was actually a really good showing for them. SSG didn't really play too bad. It was more of LG playing that premier siege that they are capable of for sure.
I think LG's problem since they've gotten into Pro League has just been like closing out those tight rounds, like you said, kind of trolling their attacks. Once they figure out how to, I don't know, not do that, right? I think they'll be a top 3 team easily. Like there's so many rounds where you're like, okay, like they got this in the bag, and then it's like kind of like one dude, gets caught off on a rotate or something, and they let someone on the defense make a stupid play or whatever. It's like once they tighten that up, they're going to be a phenomenal team. And Jarvis himself didn't have an amazing performance, but like you said, it's just a glorified Challenger League, and his first game back, he's playing the reigning world champions.
Yeah, literally
the reigning world champions. So it's like SSG did not play bad at all, right? Everyone's gonna be like, well, LG was 7-5, SSG was playing bad. They didn't play bad. Like LG was just showing that they can, like you said, play at the big dog level. And I think they're going to do all right for the rest of the season. And like you said, it doesn't really matter where you place or anything, but they need to use this to, practice and show that they can be that top 4 or 5, 3 team.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely expect big things from them in the future. They have the murders on the team. They just need to commit the crime.
Nice. How to get away with murder. All right, so no more roster moves as far as NA goes. Let me see. Anything we want to close out on that? I think
No, we had the TSM versus DZ game we skipped over. That was the
one
we
yeah.
skipped
Well,
over.
there's no roster moves on that one. I was just saying if we want to end anything off about the roster moves, but I think we pretty much hit the nails on the head.
Yep. I think we hit every part.
So TSM is now the Villa version of SSG on Clubhouse.
Hmm.
Is that fair? Is that fair to say that?
Yeah, just absolute murders on it again. Just at like 7-4 against DZ. It was kind of a blowout. Like they did have that was I think more of a sloppy performance from TSM, and they still dominated. And they played
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they still. I mean that team is just even though SSG won invite, I think at the next major will be TSM's time for sure.
Yeah. No.
Just
100%.
impeccable gameplay,
I think
really.
they are, what they are. They are what they are. They're a top 3 team in the world. And as much as like everyone's, oh, SSG, like this and that, like they're the champions. Like, well, TSM's right behind them, you know?
Hmm.
And no matter whether it's, online or LAN, it's like they're still like they're playing the same. It's not like you have a team, one of the old teams. Fuck, I don't know. Just, they're super good online. They go to LAN, bad, right? TSM is improving as time goes on. They have not like since they got Merc and Bolo, and since they got Pojo, and since they started, since they were the last seed in Pro League last season, or almost, seventh, they have just been on a straight incline, and it's like, it's insane to watch. It's just, it's either Mert going off, it's Bolo going off, it's Achieve going off, even Geo in there too. Like, Geo's like kind of taking a support role, but at the same time, he can be that rat too. So it's like, and Pojo as a support is not even playing bad either. So it's
Yeah.
just like they're all just like doing what they need to do just, to win the rounds. And it's like last night, that DZ, that's not the DZ like we're used to watching.
Yeah.
They're way more like methodical and way more about the strats. And I think like after TSM was pounding into them, they're like, well shit, let's like we got to frag out too, and it just wasn't working because it's just TSM is just TSM. That's what they are. Just like Merc just will walk and peek you and kill you because he can, because he's Merc. It's just
Yeah. And Bolo
and achieved. It's and then there once again you have Geo and Pojo behind them, who are both seasoned players, know what they're doing. It's like it's just a really good mix of players. And for yesterday's Playday, the only people who had more than one plant were Pojo and Canadian. They both had 2. So it's like, as these guys are going in, getting their entries, he's on the back end doing the support work and getting those bombs down. And,
Yeah.
we see a lot more fragging going on and not a lot of, not as many plants, but he still gets them in there. And he still gets the, his part of his roll down too.
Yeah, I mean, pretty well said. I think TSM is just a more complete team than DZ top to bottom. That's no disrespect to DZ. They're still a I would say top 5 team in the world. I'm kind of excited to see how things go because I feel like a team house which is what TSM's going to get for the LAN League, obviously. I think that may even propel them to new heights. SSG just moved into their team house, so we may even see a greater SSG, and SSG is right now the best team in the world, while DZ has kind of had this like 24/7 siege focus for a year and a half. So I feel like just for that reason, I think TSM and SSG have a higher ceiling,
Yeah.
for sure than DZ.
And
But
like you said, not to say DZ is a bad team or DZ isn't, well rounded. It's just like they've had this team house, this we're gonna get on good sleep schedules, we're gonna, do siege all day, we're gonna
focus,
work out
yeah,
and we're gonna focus on our jobs. Now it's like every team can do that.
yeah,
And the teams that haven't been doing that, like you said, TSM, SSG, like they're gonna be put in this environment and it's like it's just gonna propel them even farther than they already are at.
I agree, 100%.
So that pretty much wraps up the play days. So I guess now we could talk about this whole LAN League coming up. So I'm sure you got some things to say. You can start it off if you'd like.
Yeah, I think the LAN League is definitely interesting. It's kind of a huge step to take in a game. It's definitely localizing a whole region to a 10-mile radius. It's a big investment for players and teams, but I think we'll just have to see how it plays out. It doesn't really help right now that the world is kind of like panicking and ending due to coronavirus.
That's true.
And if Vegas shut down the strip, which is kind of like the strip is known for being open 24/7, 365, and it's like okay, like they closed Pro League finals down. Like this is a real thing. Like, and I don't think LAN League's a bad idea at all. I think it's just
The
terrible timing.
timing, yeah.
Now that it may just have to be pushed back. If coronavirus gets worked, then everybody will just be playing online again. But yeah, I think it's gonna be successful. They need to definitely go more in depth with it. I think Ubisoft needs to just publicly say like how it's gonna work. And I know they haven't, but like there's a lot of doubt with even as a Challenger League player myself, like I don't even know what's going on that much, and it's like I know a lot of pro players don't, and it's like I just want to see a good announcement, a detailed announcement, how the LAN format's going to be. I hope LAN isn't going to be BO1 because that'd be kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see how it turns out. I think this will also differentiate the online teams from the true beast in the game.
LAN, yeah, and I like how they're not waiting for all the regions to be able to do something like this, right? They're just starting with NA, and they're like, look. You don't have to get a passport. You don't have to do this and that. Everyone, if you're in NA, you could pretty much go to Vegas free, exception, Gio or any Mexican players. But I think he's the only one in Pro League, or he is. At the same time, we've heard the rumors. We saw, Reciprocity's leaving Siege. Obviously, the owner made his video. They don't have the investment, the money, whatever it is, which is fine. But we saw the LG one, rumors, and they're still going by their names. We saw the EG rumors, and it's like, why now? Why are these orgs backing out right before the LAN League? What's going on? Like, what is Ubisoft, like you said, not saying about all this that is causing this, right? Like, what are they not offering? What are they not explaining? What is not good about this? And it's like, as much as everyone's like, yeah, this is Siege, like, big orgs want to be in here, this and that, and then it's like two of them just pack up and leave.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of mind-boggling, and I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm going to say from what I know, from talking to players and talking to team managers, that these tier 1 orgs, now this is not all of them, they are not necessarily all that it's cracked up to be. They don't really care about their teams. They don't communicate with their players, at least for Siege. And this is even orgs that are still in the game right now. It's that's the way that it is. And I know people are like, oh, like, this is so cool. This org is in the game. Like, they're so cool. This and that. They treat their player. They don't. They don't care. They do not provide support.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever is going on. I tweeted this out the other day. I said we need more orgs like DZ and Sonics. As much as you want to talk shit about the Sonics and Seth's dad or whatever, they care about their players, right?
Yeah.
You see them. They're interacting with them every day. They're interacting, and they care. They want them to be successful. DZ, the most supportive org ever. They love these guys. They are, the house, this and that, the investment. Teaching everything. Like they're getting ready for life. It's like they care about their team. Now, not necessarily every org has to do that, but it's just good to see. And then you see these other orgs that are just leaving the game, and it's like, what are these players gonna do when they have to move to Vegas in June for this LAN League that we don't even know when it's starting, right? Because we have no idea how it works because Ubisoft doesn't say, and they don't have an organization because they can't. Because they have to go to an org and say, hey, we are in Rainbow Six Pro League. You have to buy us a house in Vegas, and you have to pay us. Like, it's hard enough to get representation. And it's like, who's going to dump all that money in?
Yeah.
Especially when the pilot program takes forever to get into, right? How long has TSM been in here? They still don't have a skin. How long was G2 in the game, and it took them forever to finally get their skin? It's like they either need to speed up that process, or like you said, they have to explain what's going on behind the scenes, because it's at this point it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. One thing I love Ubisoft for this. They're giving programs in this tiers out. Like, there's tier 1, 2, and 3, and they're giving it out not based on the size of the org, but how the org treats their players. So I think that's actually really good, because that'll give players. It gives orgs incentive to treat the players better, because as you said, I've heard the stories too. Some of our best friends are a part of the biggest orgs in the world,
And they
and
don't give a damn.
all our friends tell us, some of them, not all of them, is this org's just a joke. Like they don't treat us like we're a part of them. They don't they act like we don't exist. And it's like, I like to tell people this. It's like an org is not good based on its followers on Twitter. DZ has less followers than some of its players, the org, and that is the best org in Siege. Them and Sonics, like TSM. TSM's a top org, with a great following, but I've heard great things about them.
Yeah.
And it's like, DZ, 15,000 followers on Twitter, treats their players like world class, just top
Pro
of the
players,
line.
like they are. They're athletes. Or not athletes. Well, yeah, athletes. Like they're professional esports athletes, right? It's the same thing as
they're in the top
it's the same thing as
1% of
owning
1%.
a basketball team or a football team or this and that. Obviously, the money is not the same, right? They're not making millions of dollars, but they're treating them like that, and you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it, and to see these other teams who, they might not be performing well because of that too, because of the support you're getting, because of the representation you're getting. Like, it's just, you need certain things, and if your organization's not helping you with them, it puts like a mental block on you or a mental strain, or it just makes
How
you,
are you going to play well if you don't know where you're going to live next month?
Exactly. And I think the best, after this coronavirus thing, like you said, is getting worse and worse. I think the best idea would be to just push this off, right? Wait until next year. Wait until these teams get representation. You can still do the 10 teams, right? Just keep it online, or wait. You can just wait and do USN or whatever the heck it is you have planned, which we don't know because they don't want to say anything about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it would be best to wait. These guys are losing their orgs. This huge virus thing's going on. Who's selling houses? Who's buying houses? Like, this affects the whole world, right?
Yeah.
As you can see with Rec. That's where they got their money from the investments and this and that, all the stocks, crashing and this and that. They can't support their teams. And, Rec is one of those orgs that takes good care of their players, as they have told us. And it just sucks to see them have to go for, like, the monetary reasons. Like, when I say that the big orgs, they're leaving and they don't care, Rec is not one of them. They're leaving for other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But, it just sucks to see them go because, once again, they cared about their players.
Yeah, I mean, I think the LAN League, again, I think it's a good idea. It's just the timing of life. And I think, if these rumors are true about EG, LG, and, well, Rec has been confirmed, but the other two, we'll wait on those. I think it's one of those things where it may be beneficial to hold off.
100%.
I mean, at the end of the day, let's just hypothetically say EG, LG dip. You have 10 free agents now. It's kind of a chain effect. Those players, you can play orgless in online pro league. You can 100% do that and find an org, but it's just like a strain to have an org invest blindly into a team that, may have just gotten last place in pro league, but they still have the pro league spot. Now it's like, well, you basically laid off 10 people, and some of those players are better than, let's just say, for example, I'm just going to use Creator as an example because he's a friend, and this isn't obviously a real example, but it's just kind of an idea. Creator's
hypothetical, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. He's 7th place in pro league. He's kind of like middle of the pack on his team. He may get fucked over because his team sees NVK, one of the most legendary players in NA, as a free agent, and it's like, it's just kind of a chain effect, and it's like, who draws the shortest straw? Like, it's
right. Who's gonna live through this and who's not?
Yeah, it's literally.
And some of these guys, like, they don't even have a chance yet. Like you said, Tempo, E United, they're brand new. Like, those guys are gonna be the ones suffering from it because it's all of Rec is free agents. Like, yeah, you want those guys in your teams. Like, Lax, Vert, Bio. It's like, if you have a chance, you're gonna get those guys on your team, and then it's like you kind of screw over these younger guys who haven't been able to prove anything yet because they're still working on it. So I hope to God these teams, if they do end up leaving, if they don't end up leaving, whatever, that they find orgs before this LAN season, and they they're able to stick it through, because like you said, if these two orgs leave, those 10 players cannot buy a house and play in a LAN league.
Exactly.
Unless Ubisoft does it, unless Ubisoft helps them until they get an org, which I 100% doubt they would not do that, but I just don't know, because then you have these 10 free agents and it's like it's going to mess up the whole league. And
Yeah,
then
and
their whole idea of adding the 2 Pro League spots is gone because there's no orgs left. There's no, those 2 spots, all those players are just jumbled together of all the dropped players, who got dropped from their teams, and it's just like it won't work.
yeah, and it would suck to lose your pro league spot without like losing it the right way. They lost it due to something they can't control. They get relegated. All 100% makes sense. They don't deserve what they once had, but it's like these guys are still in pro league and they have earned and maintained their spot. They should be treated
have it
that way.
Yeah, they should have it.
They should. It should be second question for sure. They deserve it.
Yeah, I mean,
but we'll see.
Exactly. This is all speculation. This is all rumors. This is all this and that. But I think one of the best examples I can give is Dark Zero. Right? They made a tweet about a month ago or maybe 2 months ago. They were like, they quoted a Luminosity tweet. They're like, "Hey, you guys know you have a Rainbow Six team, right?" And it really makes you think. Like.
And a little fun fact, I love the LG guys, but like yesterday LG didn't tweet a thing about their game against SSG, so just like, makes you wonder, like, I hope my boy Doodle's being treated right. Like,
yeah, if Doodle's not being treated right, that's how you know.
Yeah,
so
like
that's just not working.
I'm gonna be pissed off if Doodle doesn't get what he deserves.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. We're gonna try and get some more episodes out. Hopefully we'll be able to get Fozo back in, get some more people, get some more guests. This was kind of just like a quick little, we're just going to talk about everything that happened the last month of Siege. But now, since, we will be finding out more information on the USN, the Pro League, hopefully, we will be finding out more about this, how the coronavirus is going to affect everything. We'll be able to talk a little bit more. We'll be able to have a little more content to be able to go through. Once again, appreciate everyone for listening. Glad you guys respect our opinions as people in the scene who have a little bit more information, a little bit more insider info than others. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time. Anything else you want to say, Yardy?
I'd just like to recap by saying thank you for listening. I see a lot more podcasts showing up day by day, and just know that me and Zaku, we got the inside scoop on everything, so listen to us first.
That's all I'm going
to say. Listen to us
first. And all the speculation, I can tell you what's actually going on, but that's not my place, so I'll just leave it at that.
God's plan.
God's plan, yeah.
Anyways,
my dad always says, well, we're not super religious, and my dad's Jewish anyway, but he says, you have plans, but God has others, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how the whole rest of this year plays out.